From the moment the first scream tore through the night, Claire Bennett knew something about her husband was not as simple as she once believed. The shattering crash, the trembling of the windows, and the way Ethan moved fast, decisive, as if some invisible trigger had awakened sent a cold ripple through her chest. He had always been gentle, patient. A man who made breakfast for his little boy while humming old songs under his breath. But on that night, when danger brushed against their quiet world, she saw something else flash. Across his eyes. Hardened focus, a presence forged from somewhere far more violent than the peaceful life he claimed to have lived. If you believe in kindness, redemption, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps bring stories like this to life. Claire had built her world on control spreadsheets, morning briefings, precise planning, and relentless ambition. As the CEO of a burgeoning tech company in Austin, she had built everything brick by brick through discipline and self-sacrifice. Love, she once believed, was a luxury she couldn't afford. But when she met Ethan Parker, a soft-spoken single father who walked into one of her company's community events with his 6-year-old son Noah, clinging shyly to his pant leg, she felt something inside her soften. He wasn't like the polished entrepreneurs or high-powered executives she usually crossed paths with. Ethan was grounded, warm, someone who listened more than he spoke. She fell for him slowly, then all at once, and within 2 years, they were married. She believed she had finally built a life not only built on achievement, but on love, quietness, and a sense of safety she never knew she needed. But safety, she would soon discover, was never the full truth. Their home was a modest, cozy place with soft lighting and warm walls, far from the expansive penthouses Claire could easily have afforded. Ethan insisted that Noah needed normally, not marble, floors and city views. Claire had agreed. She cherished the gentle evenings where Ethan cooked. Noah followed him around like a giggling shadow, and the three of them sat on the couch watching the sunset. Ethan's touch was always steady, reassuring, as though he had anchored his entire being into protecting what they were building together. But the more Claire grew to love him, the more she sensed there were parts of him locked behind a door he wasn't ready to open. The first clue emerged on an otherwise ordinary afternoon. Claire returned home early from a business summit because she missed the warmth of their little world. She found Ethan in the backyard training, not merely exercising, but moving with an intensity she couldn't quite understand. His motions were fluid, deadly precise, almost military. He hadn't heard her approach until she stepped directly behind him. Only then did he stop, his chest rising sharply, his eyes flicking with something that looked like old instinct. She asked about it gently, and he minimized it. Just old habits, he murmured with a quiet smile, but something in the way. He looked past her, towards some memory she couldn't see made her wonder. Still, she trusted him, loved him, believed him when he assured her his past was nothing that could hurt their family. She didn't push him, not yet. But everything changed 3 months later. It started with phone calls, unknown numbers, a man's voice that always hung up when she answered. Ethan brushed it off as wrong numbers. But the tightening in his jaw, the way he checked the locks twice each night, way he sometimes stared out the window long after he thought she had fallen asleep, all of it told a different story. Claire began to feel tension in the air, like the tight string of a violin, trembling before a notice struck. Then came the night of the scream. Claire had been reading in the living room while Ethan put Noah to bed. It was almost 10 o'clock when she heard the shattering crash outside, glass breaking, followed by an unmistakable sound of someone grunting in pain. Before Claire could even rise to her feet, Ethan was already in motion. She saw him sprint through the hallway, his steps silent, calculated. He waved her back with a firm gesture she had never seen from him. A command given, not as a husband, but as someone who had done this 1,000 times before. When Ethan stepped outside, Claire followed far enough to see, but not enough for him to notice. Under the dim porch light, two men stood in their driveway, one clutching a crowbar, the other holding what looked like a broken piece of metal. Ciella's breath caught when she saw Ethan move. His body shifted, fluid and deadly, the same motions she had seen the afternoon, but now sharpened, unleashed. Within seconds, the men were on the ground, groaning, disarmed, no longer posing a threat. Ethan didn't say a word as he pulled out his phone, called the police like it was routine, and then walked back inside as though nothing unusual had happened, but the look in his eyes told Claire it was far from routine. That night, after Noah was safely asleep, Ethan finally sat down with her, and the truth years of it buried deep came spilling out. He wasn't just a simple single dad. He wasn't just someone who used to work in logistics, as he had told her early in their relationship. He was a former member of one of the most elite special operations units in the United States military, a group so classified that even he rarely spoke its name aloud. He had spent years overseas leading missions that the world would never hear about. He had seen things, done things that had carved permanent scars inside him. His unit had saved countless lives, dismantled dangerous organizations, and protected the country from threats most people would never know existed. And before he left that world behind, he had made enemies powerful ones. When Claire asked why he hadn't told her, Ethan said something that shook her to her core. He admitted that he had wanted to build a new life, one without violence, one where he could be the father no one needed, the husband Claire deserved. He believed that distancing himself from his past was the only way to protect them. But now, pieces of that past were resurfacing. People who had found out he was alive, who resented the missions he had led, who wanted revenge. What terrified her most was that he had been preparing for this quietly for months, hoping it would never come to their doorstep. But it had. In the days that followed, Claire found herself balancing board meetings and emotional turmoil, trying to process everything while trying to maintain a sense of normalcy for Noah. Ethan grew even more protective, walking her to her car each morning, scanning spaces before letting Noah enter them, analyzing shadows and corners like a man who'd never truly left the battlefield behind. It broke her heart to see the weight he carried, a weight he had wanted to spare from. The danger escalated slowly but surely. Strange cars parked too long near their street. A drone spotted hovering behind their home. An intercepted attempt to breach Claire's company servers, targeting files connected not to her business, but to Ethan. Through every moment, Ethan's resolve hardened. He moved with purpose, precision, and a determined quietness. He started reaching out to old contacts, not for violence, but for information, for guidance. He didn't want to return to the man he used to be, but he understood that protecting his family required him to confront what he had tried so hard to leave behind. Through this storm, Claire watched him, listened, learned, and something inside her shifted. Instead of feeling betrayed, she felt a deeper, overwhelming love for the man who had carried so much pain in silence, who had tried to shield her from something that was part of him, even if he hated it. She saw not a soldier, but a father, a husband, a man desperate to protect the fragile peace he had fought so hard to build. When the final confrontation came, it wasn't explosive. It wasn't cinematic. It was quiet like the dangerous calm before a storm breaks. Ethan met with someone he once called a brother, a former teammate who had turned bitter after losing loved ones during one of their missions. The man blamed Ethan for survival, for leadership, for decisions none of them should have had to make. Ethan didn't fight him, he faced him with honesty, grief, and the kind of courage that doesn't require fists or weapons. Both men walked away not unscarred, but no longer enemies, and the threats, at least for now, faded. In the months that followed, Claire began to understand the fullness of the man she married. She loved him not despite his past, but because of the strength he carried from it, the tenderness he had fought to preserve in spite of it. Noah, blissfully unaware of the full scale of events, continued growing into a joyful, bright child who adored his father and loved Claire with all his heart. Their home once again filled with warmth, laughter, and the sense of safety she had once taken for granted. Now Claire no longer feared his past. She respected it, honored it, and she stood beside Ethan as he slowly learned to forgive himself, to merge the man he once was with the man he chose to become. Their love wasn't perfect, but it was real, tested in ways few marriages ever are. Strengthened by truth, vulnerability, and a shared determination to build a future not defined by shadows. If this story moved you, if you believe in healing, love, and the strength people carry, even when they feel broken, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support truly means more than you know. Before the ending, I have one special request. Comment below with the word hope. If you believe everyone deserves a chance to start over. In the end, Claire and Ethan's story wasn't about secrets or danger. It was about choosing love, even when the past tries to drag you back, about rebuilding what life breaks, about learning that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let someone see every part of you. And as they stood together on their porch one quiet evening watching Noah chase fireflies in the yard, Claire felt something she had rarely allowed herself to feel. A profound, unshakable peace. A peace earned through storms, through honesty, through a love strong enough to survive the weight of truth. And that more than anything was the life they vowed to protect.